In this video, I'm going to be sharing the key growth levers that you can apply to scale your e-commerce brand to 8 figures and beyond. And we're going to be using this company, Liquid IV, as an example. They've actually been sold to Unilever in just 8 years of operation for $500 million. And as you can see here, they're now the largest brand in Unilever's 1.9 billion euro health and well-being business, which is crazy. So there's a lot for us to get through today. So let's get straight into it. The first thing I want to do is just, before we dive in, show you some proof that I'm qualified to speak on the topic of growing e-commerce brands. One of our clients last month, 756K in revenue. And if you're a new viewer here, my name is Jordan Hayes. I run a marketing agency. What we do is we help e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures and beyond. On the customer acquisition side, we're focusing on ad creative strategy, media buying, conversion optimization, and on the retention side, we're focusing more on email and SMS marketing, as well as building LTV strategy. So with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So Liquid IV, when they launched, they started by selling their flagship product, which is the hydration multiplier. And what this is they are sticks, these sachets that you put into water, and they're flavored, but they help with hydration. So the key here is that there's a clear problem and solution, but also the fact that it's flavored. Because what I've seen, especially in food and beverage and consumables, is the flavor and the experience that the customer has is very, very important to make that product sticky. And by sticky, I mean that they come back and repeat purchase, right? There's some sort of emotional attachment to it. If you're selling supplements, selling consumable products, whatever it may be, but they have some sort of nice smell or nice taste, anything that can invoke senses, that's a very important way to get emotional attachment from the consumer to your product and brand, to get them to come back and purchase again. And that's what Liquid IV have done here with their flavors. Obviously, they've expanded their flavors and done a lot of these over the years, but you can see they have quite a lot of flavors to choose from right here. And since they've launched, they have expanded their product range where they also sell immune support, energy, multiply kids, gut health, and sleep, right? So they are cross-category. That someone, they may not be interested in the hydration multiplier. They might come into the brand through the kids, right? Or they might come into the brand through gut health. And then what Liquid IV can do is they can increase LTV by cross-selling other products to them after they make that first purchase, right? So there's multiple different entry points to the brands. When we think about the strategy of introducing products and building product strategy is thinking about how can we keep within the same theme of a brand, go cross-category and target other segments of a wider audience that can be different entry points into our brand. The goal here is to build an ecosystem. If we don't want to build a brand to 8 figures plus, it's about building an ecosystem of products where you're not just targeting one demographic, one market or customer persona, you're targeting multiple of them. And there's all this like cross-sell and cross-categorization that's going on. So there's another key point that I want to cover here with Liquid IV, and that is the unique mechanism. If you want to scale a brand and you want to have a moat around your brand, a moat being that competitive advantage that means it's hard for other people to copy you, and it's easy for you to get buy-in and loyalty from your customers because you have a unique mechanism. Now, what Liquid IV does is that they have 2 main points of a unique mechanism. The first is a cellular transport technology, which is really just the way that the body absorbs the product. Because what they're doing is they're trying to differentiate themselves from other hydration products. And the way that they're doing that is, by creating this transport technology, right? The way that it's absorbed by the body. By the way, if you're a new viewer here, my name is Jordan Hayes. I actually run a marketing agency where we help e-commerce brands scale their revenue profitably. Now, if you're running an e-commerce brand, you're doing over 100K per month in revenue, and you're facing challenges with scale, maybe your ads or your funnel is not working as well as it used to or should be, or even if it's just a lack of time and resource to put into scaling this part of the business, then that's exactly what we help with. So down below this video, there'll be a link to book a call with me. We'll have a conversation about your business, learn more about the challenges, your objectives, and see if there's a fit for us to work together. Worst case scenario, I can provide some insights as we're seeing with our other clients to help you in your current stage of your business. And as I mentioned, this is for brands who are doing at least 100K per month in revenue and they need help with scaling and obviously want to scale profitably. And in the way in which we help brands scale is we provide services across both customer acquisition and customer retention, done for you services which are completely hands-off. We take care of everything for you. And that includes media buying, CRO, landing pages, ad creative, email marketing, SMS marketing, overall growth strategy, lifetime value optimization, all that stuff, okay? So with that said, let's get back to the video. You see this in skincare a lot, right? Or you see this in other supplement brands where they talk a lot about the bioavailability of the ingredients or the absorption capability in terms of the way that it's transported. Recently on my channel, we went through an offer page from Cure, a skincare brand, and they were selling a micro needling system for the skin, and it was all about the delivery mechanism, right? It goes deeper into the skin rather than just putting something on like a topical, right, on top of the skin. This actually goes deeper into the skin. So that is an example, a perfect example as well of a unique mechanism. Now, another one is Live Hydroscience. This goes more into the science behind the product, but we can see here you get faster hydration than water alone, powered by Live Hydroscience, a science-backed formula that contains an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, etc., etc. It's all about the composition of the formula itself, right? So the formulation. You see this a lot again in supplements. We've seen this, with Pet Lab Co, with Woofs, those 9-figure pet brands. where they sell supplements, but they're talking about the formulation of those ingredients and how it's not just about the individual ingredients, but it's also about how they're put together, which makes their product unique. So exact same idea here, right? So you want to think about how your product has, what unique mechanism your product has, because you can use this as creative angles and messaging across your funnel to differentiate yourself and decommoditize yourself from other competitors out there. Now, another way that Liquid IV has been able to scale rapidly, and what we're seeing with our clients, plus what I'm seeing as a trend across multiple 8 and 9 figure brands, is multiple sources of new customer acquisition, right? Now, Liquid IV have definitely more than 4. However, I think 3 to 4 should be somewhat the minimum. So first of all, you have paid ads, right? Which is, what most brands are doing. Meta ads, Google ads, whatever it may be. Then you have influencer marketing. So Liquid IV have a lot of influencer partnerships, and actually on a similar vein, they actually sponsored the Miami F1, right? Which, is not achievable for all brands, but if your brand gets to the 9-figure range or $1 billion status, then sponsoring events that big could definitely be on the table. You can even take that as an idea and say, how can we sponsor smaller events, maybe even like community-led events within the most popular cities or towns that your brand is selling to? Quick tip, just look at your Shopify data and see which cities and towns your product is sold the most in, and then maybe focus on doing activations and in-person events in those areas, right? Because that's a way that you can spread a lot of word of mouth, and you can also get, a lot of content that you can use for your other, socials, etc. But going back to the influencer marketing stuff, they have a lot of posts about people using the product. Of course, they're investing a lot in this, and again, it's not always on the table to get celebrities on board. You'd be surprised at, sometimes you can, just by like getting your product out there and gifting and posting a lot, like having an organic social machine, which we've spoken about before, you get recognition and you start to become noticed by people out there. And you might just find that you have celebrities or influencers that start posting about your product just because they love it, right? We've seen this even with our own clients where we haven't even gifted the product and people have just posted about it, right? And we haven't even realized until we see the spike in traffic and we go back and it's like, oh, this was why, right? This person posted. It's funny how that can happen just by getting your product out there. Also being in retail, being in Target, wholesale, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, helps with that, getting the brand out there and getting more recognition from, these kind of people. You can also, invest in influencer marketing. I would start on the smaller side and build up. You don't always want to go for, the big influencers because the ROI may not be there, completely. But, we see here as well, like these partnerships. And of course, all these can then be translated into emails. They can be on landing pages. You can use them in paid ads with whitelisting. There's a lot you can do here just by having an influencer partnership. And what you should do is you test multiple influencers and you see specific ones that are performing very well. Then you should double down on those and turn those influencers into brand ambassadors where, they have some sort of affiliate deal with you, or, there's, you're getting some sort of ongoing whitelisting agreement with them where you can, run ads through their accounts on an ongoing basis. So that's on the influencer marketing side. Come back to this as well. We have organic social and word of mouth. As we've seen, their heavy presence on Instagram and across different social medias. And you want to focus on this, right? You want to focus on building an organic social machine where you're producing a range of different content, engaging content that people want to engage with, whether it's entertainment, whether it's education, whatever it may be. We've seen this as well with, other brand breakdowns that we've done for 9-figure brands, Black Rifle Coffee, Liquid Death, Solo Stove, just some brands we've gone through on my channel. And you can find those videos on my channel where we go to very, very similar strategies, but you can start to see the commonalities between them. Then we have affiliate and SEO. And by the way, this sources new customer acquisition is purely for D2C. We're going to go through other channels in a moment. However, affiliate and SEO, they've done a very good job of this. They have articles on Healthline, and if you type in Liquid IV reviews, they have a lot of reviews on YouTube. We can see here, for example, they have an article on Vogue. And the way in which you get this affiliate / SEO, on the more press publication side, a lot of it is through relationships. You can work with someone who has these relationships, which is an easy way to get your foot in the door. You can also provide these affiliates with very favorable commissions that are above market, right? So you might be able to provide a better deal than other competitors out there, and then they choose to write about you and rank you. If they're doing like a top 5 or like a listicle, they might rank you further up the page. You provide a better commission deal structure. So unless you have these direct relationships yourself, I would recommend working with someone who does. And then by getting features on these like press publications, but also on these blog articles at different forums, etc., then you start to get that SEO as well. So the next thing I want to talk about is the offer structure that Liquid IV has. First of all, they have this build your own bundle offer, which I love. And this is not only for consumable products. Like if you're not selling a consumable product, if you're selling apparel, if you're selling furniture, you can still do build your own bundles, right? And what this does is it allows the customer to choose their own products, whether it's flavors, whether it's colors, whether it's different product categories, whatever it is, you allow the customer to build their own. What you can do is that as they add products, you can encourage them to add more. This one, I think, was even minimum of 3. And then you can say, you can unlock a free pout if you add 4th. So a build your own bundle is a great way to increase average order value, especially if the individual products themselves, like this brand Liquid IV, the AOV is not that high. You want people to buy multiple so that you can increase that AOV, right? We've seen this again with other brands such as Kachava, where the individual product price of one of their shakes is not that expensive, but if you buy a pack of 5, all of a sudden that AOV starts to ramp up. So aside from the build your own bundle, they also have this separate offer structure on their PDPs, which is a quantity break offer. Now, this is one of my favorite offer structures because, again, it allows us to increase average order value, but it also creates a much more seamless approach because we're selling basically the same product, but multiple times. So you can buy 1, you can buy 2, you can buy 3. We've seen this, across different brands we've broken down on my channel, but basically it's the more you buy, the more you save. And we can see here as well on this page that the process to purchase is very seamless, right? We select our flavor, then we select, how many pouches we want, and then a one-time subscribe and save order, which is another element that I love to this offer structure. But they have this subscribe and save. Now, if you can weave in a subscribe and save offer into your product, into your brand, definitely do it because it increases lifetime value and is much easier to increase lifetime value because you're getting that compounding revenue and you're acquiring a subscriber, not just a customer. And this is another example that I pulled up here of a quantity break offer where just the more you buy, the more you save. This brand is offering a 2-month supply of their pet supplement, a 4-month supply or a 6-month supply. And as you can see here, the more the customer buys, the more they save. I don't think that's as clear on Liquid IV. So that actually could be an opportunity for them to decrease the cost per stick right here, which is remaining the same as we, increase the number of pouches. But it could be an option for them to weave that in, such as what this brand is doing here, where you can see $7.50 per month and it goes down to $16.56 per month as you get the 6-month supply. So just options there you want to include in your quantity break offer if that's something you want to structure. So as you went through, this offer structure is optimized for AOV. It's a quantity break offer. They have one-time subscribe and save options, and of course the seamless shopping experience as well, which is really important for conversion optimization. So the next thing is a multi-channel strategy. Now, if there's one thing that I've seen as a commonality between the 9-figure brands is that all of them are on Amazon and nearly all of them are operating as some sort of retail or wholesale strategy. So Liquid IV are heavy on Amazon. They're also in Walmart, they're in Costco, and multiple different retail outlets, across the country and also across the world. And the thing here as well is international expansion, which is another lever you can pull. So right now, if you're only operating D2C, you can go to retail, wholesale, but you can also increase the number of products, right? Product expansion, which we spoke about earlier, but also international expansion, which is going into different countries, which is another lever you can pull for growth. And what I want to share here is how this all comes together with a retail and D2C ecosystem flywheel, okay? So the first thing is that retail becomes a trust builder for D2C. Shelf presence at CVS, Target, Walmart, Costco, that increases awareness and credibility, helping convert that cold D2C traffic who've seen it in store. So if they see you in one of those stores and then they see an ad or an organic post or influencer post, they've already seen you and it's a trust builder. Then the D2C is education and LTV engine. So the website and email flows handle product education, bundling and upsell sequencing, deepening customer engagement far beyond retail. Then we have Amazon for mid-funnel catch-all, customers searching post awareness often land on Amazon, where Liquid IV dominates reviews, SEO, and subscribe and save volume. So again, another trust builder. But even if a customer is researching like, hey, give me some reviews about Liquid IV, like, is this product legit? They're going to come across Amazon and they're going to see tons and tons of reviews, tons and tons of credibility. And if someone is not converting through the website or they're not converting at CVS or Whole Foods, then they're converting through Amazon. So you can start to see how this multi-channel strategy starts to weave and become intertwined, and all of them help each other. Then we have influencer and creator loop. So the heavy use of UGC, YouTube sponsorships, podcasts, fitness creators builds top of funnel demand. So we're widening that top of funnel that spreads across all channels. And then of course, retail is benefiting from D2C driven discovery. And retail, one of the most important things is sell-through, right? The retail outlets themselves, Whole Foods, Walmart, CVS, they want to make sure that your product is shifting, right? They want to make sure that your product is selling enough. And a great way to make sure that happens is not just rely on the visitors that are going into the stores and relying on them to discover your product themselves, but building this top of funnel strategy through all these different influencer and creator approaches that raise awareness and demand to increase sell-through within retail. And finally, limited drops and retail exclusives. So seasonal flavors or pack formats are sometimes exclusive to retail or D2C, creating cross-channel FOMO and incentivizing multi-channel engagement. So something I've seen brands that are in retail do really well is do these limited edition products or exclusive drops that are only exclusive to certain retailers. And as you can imagine, that drives a lot of sell-through because there's a lot of demand and FOMO there, and people will go to Walmart, whatever it is, just to get the product, right? I've seen this as well with, I believe it's Simple Modern, a brand, again, 9-figure brand. They're in a lot of retail outlets. They have these licensing deals with companies such as Disney, and they did exclusive licensing deals with certain retailers, again, to drive sell-through, but also you deepen that relationship. Okay, so to wrap up this video, what are the key takeaways? There's 4 key takeaways I want to go through. So for your brand, think about turning your hero product into a system. So start with one high frequency problem-solving SKU, then build retention through flavors, use cases, example, sleep, energy, gut health, as we saw, and also bundles, right? So it's all about finding that starting point. But then again, as we said, building the product strategy around an ecosystem. Then you want to use retail to fuel D2C trust. Being in stores like Target or Costco makes your brand feel real. Mentioning retail presence in your emails and landing pages helps reduce friction with cold D2C traffic. We're establishing a lot of trust, as you've seen, with that flywheel. The next thing is stack value, not discounts. Instead of racing to the bottom with discounts, use bundle pricing, free shipping, or subscription incentives to drive AOV and repeat purchase without killing margin, as we saw the offer structure here from Liquid IV. And you want to leverage UGC and creator content across channels, from YouTube to TikTok to podcast. Liquid IV wins with creator content that's repurposed across paid, organic, and retail assets, creating a full funnel loop powered by trust, right? So you can start to see how all of this intertwines and comes together. And by the way, this is not going to be done overnight. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because it shows you like where you should be heading, and brands that we can model from that have already paved the way for us, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Instead, we can look at what has this brand done? What are the different elements to the growth strategy? And how can we apply those to our brand? And what can we do right now as high priority? And what can we put on the roadmap for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line, and start setting some goals? You know, if you do want to go into retail, start setting some goals. What retailers do you want? You know, do you want Whole Foods? Do you want Costco? How many do you want to be? Right? Start to set a goal for which ones. And then also the same for, you know, international expansion. If you're currently in the US, you want to expand into the UK, you want to expand to Europe, you want to go to Australia, like start to think about those. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you clear goals to then work towards. And trust me, like, especially nowadays, brands are not built just by running meta ads or even meta ads and Google ads. And this is coming from an agency owner who meta ads and Google ads are bread and butter, right? It's what we do. I'm here to tell you that if you really want to build a brand and you want to go to 8 figures and beyond, you need to be focusing on multi-channel. You need to be incorporating multiple sources of new customer acquisition. You need a product strategy that builds an ecosystem. You need to expand in different countries, which, you know, is not required to get to 8-figure range, but if you want to go to 9 figures and beyond, different countries and expansion is going to help a lot with that. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. We covered a lot here with Liquid IV, a great brand to model from. And if you are looking for a partner to come in and help you scale with done-for-you marketing services across both customer acquisition and customer retention, then there'll be a link below this video. You can book a call with me. We'll have a chat about your business, understand the current challenges and your objectives, and see if there's a fit for us to work together. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.